friends, welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Caitlin and I like to film eyeshadow palette ranking and review videos, as well as the occasional other beauty content sprinkled in. So if any of those things sound interesting to you, I highly recommend that you hit that subscribe button because I post 2 videos every single week. And for those of you that are not new here, my face is happy that you are seeing it again. And I am excited for today's video. We are going to be doing, well, I'll put it in the caption. I think it's just going to be one look because honestly, I just edited that Blend Bunny 3 looks, and as much as I think this palette is beautiful, and there's a lot of people on TikTok wanting looks with this palette, I think I'm going to keep the YouTube video to one look and then possibly do some other looks over on my TikTok. katelynhousemakeup, if you would like to follow me over there. I will post pictures of the looks on my Instagram, which is katelynhousemakeup as well. But yeah, I like to post different kinds of content. Same looks, but different kinds of content on both platforms, so you should probably follow me everywhere. Anyways, I am going to do a look with this palette, and since I'm going to keep it to one look, it's going to be an extra look. If you are interested in watching me test out the new Nomad Cosmetics Verona Amore Morte? Let me try that again. If you are interested in watching me test out the Nomad Cosmetics Verona Amore e Morte, I don't know how to speak Italian. Anyways, this is their Verona, Italy Love and Death palette. If you want to see me do a look with this palette, then you should go ahead and keep on watching. Okay, if you haven't already, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up because if you're still here, that means this is content that you are interested in, and the thumbs up helps me know that. I'm going to insert a video close-up of the palette here so you can kind of see like what the palette looked like before I dug my grubby fingers into it for swatches. It has beautiful imprints in it. Let's talk about the palette. It is cruelty-free and vegan. There are no parabens, I can never say that word, I think it's phthalates, or mineral oil. There are 18 shades. Like I mentioned a second ago, this is their palette that's based on Verona, Italy. If you're not familiar to Nomad, they always do palettes based on destination. So this is Verona, Italy, and specifically they're basing this off of Romeo and Juliet, and then it's the Love and Death palette, and I could not tell you something that I vibe with more on a Valentine's Day release. I love, like, just kind of like the darker themes and, like, you know, like, that's kind of, Halloween's my favorite holiday. Valentine's Day is my least favorite holiday. But having a palette that is love and death makes me much more excited for Valentine's Day. So, my poor husband. Anyways, what was I gonna look at? I don't think are there ingredients on the back of this. The ingredients aren't listed on the package, but I believe their ingredients are listed on their website. So if you're curious, you can check that there. This is a 12-month open container. It is manufactured at Nomad Labs in China, distributed by Nomad Cosmetics, which is set in Dallas, Texas. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So showing the packaging, I just showed you a close-up of it. Here, I'm going to put a picture up of my swatches here. That picture will be posted on my Instagram, and then also I'll post a video on my TikTok. It has the dual mirrors, which I think is cool. So it's basically like 2 9-pan palettes, which I think is awesome. Oh, and they always donate. I didn't keep my card. Oh, I think this is going to the World Wildlife Fund, I believe, maybe, I'm not sure. They usually do a donation with each palette, but I didn't keep the little package. Oh, the ingredients are on the box. They're on this box. They're very small. It is a pressed pigment palette, so there are shades that they have to list as not intended for use around the eye area. I ignore that. I swatched everything. You know what's funny? I never have irritation from the eyeshadows when I swatch them, but my arm is so irritated from the freaking like vinyl stickers that I use. Anyways, the pain that I go through to create content. So let's go ahead and get started. I am priming my lids with the About Face Shadow Fix Primer. If you can hear anything in the background, that is a TV that is playing. My dogs just get a little riled up by different noises, so I have the TV on for them, and typically I have this door shut because my husband kind of hangs out with them, but he is out of town right now, As of the time you're filming this, he is not out of town, so don't come and try and attack me or anything. I have maybe watched too much true crime, but anyways, I don't know when my food's gonna be here. I forgot. I ordered food, and it might come soon. Okay, so I don't really know what I want to do, except that I kind of want to go into both sides of the palette, and I have these Bake Up Beauty, the like gems that they launched, and I really want to use these ones that are almost, they're like kind of like bubbles versus like actual like gems. I think they're really cool. So I thought like putting these, and they're kind of iridescent, I thought that could be fun. So anyways, these I want to use, and I won't use anything else because we're trying this palette, so I won't pull in any loose pigments or anything, I promise. Gosh, you know what's so funny is I typically don't like red eyeshadow, but I love red and pink, so I really just want to go over here. But these are so pretty too. So what do I want to do? I never figured this. I should really figure out what I want to do before I sit down to film. What do we want to do? I had a vision earlier while I was napping, and then I lost it. It's gone now. Somebody said they wanted like a really dark, grungy look for that would be like Valentine's-y. So, okay, I think I've got it. Okay. I don't know if this is going to look good, but we're going for it. So this is a BH Cosmetics number 10 brush. It is a fluffy blending brush. I'm going into the shade Tomb, and I will say that using the mirror on this palette is not, maybe if I, oh, since we're dipping into the shade, maybe if we go like this, is not as hard. This is an 18 pan palette, so it's, you know, it's big. Also, I kind of like that we're pulling in this gray because I have kind of a taupey colored shirt, so I feel like the gray and that work nicely together. I love Nomad's matte formula. It's seriously so soft and so pigmented. It just feels delightful. I love the imprints that they do, although I will say on the shimmer shades, when I swatched them, the imprints basically went away, but on the mattes I can still see them, so. And before anybody clocks me on this wig, I will style it better. It's just I needed to get this out of my face while I'm doing the makeup look. So here we are. My food is almost here, so I will have to scoot and skedaddle and come back here in a second. This is a Cosmic Brushes CB1 brush, and I'm going to go in with the shade Dagger, and I don't think I pointed it out, but I used Tomb, and now we're going in with Dagger. Somebody on TikTok asked me to do a look with each side, so I might have to do that on TikTok eventually. I'm still in the middle of my only using 10 palettes for 30 days or just like a month of using one palette, but because I'm occasionally reaching for other stuff, I'm bumping that out a little bit. So, and all of these indie makeup brands launching these amazing palettes is really making that experiment that I'm trying not that fun. My food is here. I will be back. And I'm only telling you this because it'll only be a second for you, but my lighting might change. So I'm gonna come back after I've had dinner. All right, I am back and I am fed. Okay, oh my God. Okay, so where were we? All right, I'm going to go in to the shade, what is that? Dark, which is this dark purple shade. And I'm going to take we're gonna take this Real Techniques brush, the 042. It's from their collab with Victoria Lynn. I really like the tones of these purples. I mean, I know I'm mixing them with the gray, so that's also part of it, but I think it's fun. And you could definitely get like a very dark, smoky, grungy look if you just stuck to this side of the palette and like pulled in the shade Tragedy, which is the, I think it's a multi-chrome. Maybe it's a duochrome, but feels like a multi-chrome shade. When I swatched it, it seemed like it was more multi-chrome than duochrome, but anyways. I have watched a few people's videos with this palette, but at this point I've slept since I've seen them, so I don't remember like a ton about what they said about the shades and stuff. And I don't really remember everybody's looks. I know a lot of people don't watch other videos because they don't want to be, you know, influenced by what other people did, but I watch so many videos that they all start to blur together, and then I just like literally don't remember what anybody did. I do save a lot of, of videos for inspiration though when I'm not doing my video, because I like to recreate looks because everybody's just so talented. And it's so fun to recreate somebody else's look because they have like, I don't know how to explain it other than we all have sort of like different visions when we see palettes. So like the creativity is different, you know what I mean? I'm going to deepen this up further. I'm going to take this B4 brush from Blend Bunny Cosmetics and we're going to go into the shade Death, which is the black shade. I was debating if I wanted to go in with Poison, which is the blue, but no, we're going to go with the black. I'm going to go back over that with the shade Dark, which it was the dark purple shade. Just because I want this to be more purple than black, but the black will help to deepen that shade up still and still give us depth. I just want more of a purpley appearance than a black appearance. Do you see how that's different? I love this so far. It's this really pretty grungy, like not a look I would have ever thought I could get with a Valentine's kind of release. I mean, I know it's purple and purple's often in a Valentine's release, but I feel like the gray and black give it a little something different. We are going to go in to the shade Cupid and then I think Romeo on the lid. So we're going to do the two pink shimmers. Now, when I swatched these, I did have to dig my finger in quite a bit to get any color payoff, like in the swatch. Yeah, it's kind of light. It's more of like an iridescent, like toppery shade. But I think it's going to pick up better on my finger than on a brush, so. And maybe I should have put a glitter glue down or like a primer, some sort of tacky base down, because it probably would have adhered to that a little bit better, but I didn't think about that until it was already on my eyeball. So a finger application, I mean, I could use a smaller finger, but I'm going in with my index finger, but a finger application is a little bit messy, so it's not my preferred application. But if I'm gonna just be miserable trying to pick something up on a brush, I don't really want to do that. And sometimes with these like toppery duochrome shades, I kind of like applying them with my finger for a more messy application. And I always do my eye makeup first, so I don't mind that it's getting like all underneath. That's so interesting. I feel like it looks more pink on this eye and more blue on this eye. At least that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really pretty shade, a really pretty duochrome. So now we're gonna go in with Romeo. This was the one I really had to dig into to get anything, but at least when I swatched it. Oh, that's pretty. I know like a purple and pink look isn't, you know, the most inspiring, or not inspiring, but the most like unique for Valentine's Day, but it is really pretty and I really like it, and it's gonna match the sweater I'm gonna put on here in a second. And even though we went dark and smoky, I don't feel like it's too, like it looks too weird with the headband I have. I'm going back into Cupid and I'm gonna tap over where we just put some of that shade Romeo. Just get a little bit more of a blend on those. So let me see if I can let's see how Cupid does pick up on a brush. I mean, I got some. I don't think it looks bad. Okay, and then let me see. We're gonna go back in with the brush that kind of has the purple and the black on it, just to deepen up this outer portion. I think I'm gonna do a shadow wing with, I don't know. I'm like, should we mix it up and do a shadow wing with Quill, which is the red shade down here? Maybe. Let's try it. This is another Real Techniques brush. This is the 056 angled liner. I don't know what collection this is from. This is going to be slightly lighter than what we have on the outside corner, so we'll see how it goes. I'm just kind of playing it by ear. Ooh, I do like that red. I think that was a fun like pop of color. I have to figure out how I'm going to place these gems. I never know. Like, I never end up placing, you guys probably can't see anything because I'm getting all up close and personal with this mirror. I never know where to place gems and things like that. So I end up never doing them because I'm like, I don't know what looks good. And there's some people that like do all this like cool mix of them and it looks amazing. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of vision. I don't know. All right, we have quite a bit of fallout, but that's what usually happens. You guys probably couldn't hear me very well at all because my mic was flipped around the entire time I was filming that. But anyways, I have quite a bit of fallout, but that's usually what happens with shadow wing, like when you're trying to just get pigment from shadow versus an eyeliner. That happens. That's mostly what I have down here, but some of the darker shades did have some fallout. So I'm going to clean this up. I'll come back for the lower lash line, inner corner, and yeah, and then we'll talk about my thoughts on the palette. May or may not have gone a little bit ham on the gems. I used the gems that I was talking about from Makeup Beauty, and then I also grabbed some of the face pearls from Half Magic. The Makeup Beauty, like the bubble gems I was talking about, are all the same size, so the Half Magic Beauty have like variation in size, which is kind of what I was looking for. But anyways, let's get back to this look. I think on the lower lash line, we're gonna basically do the same thing that we did on top, on bottom. So I'm taking the same Real Techniques brush from earlier, but I'm going to go into the shade Death. I just wiped it off on a color switch. So I'm just going to run that along the lower lash line. That black is very intense. Whoopsies. Maybe I didn't want to go in with this black, but oh well, it's too late now. I mean, it's not too late. Like I could, in theory, wipe this off. But anyways, we're gonna go in same brush, but no, not the same brush. We're gonna go in. I'm gonna take this Real Techniques smudger brush and go in with the shade Dark, which is the dark purple shade that we used earlier. You know what? I might do this slightly different than up top. Now that I'm here, and that black shade is black, I think we might have to tweak our original idea. Oh baby, this got a little out of control. All right, let's take a Real Techniques shading brush and go into the shade. I think I'm gonna go in with Cupid, which is the red shade. I might heavily regret this decision. Now we're gonna take the Real Techniques Essential Crease Brush and I'm gonna go into the shade. We're gonna take, what is this top one? Paradise, the light pink. Yes. It's a little dramatic. It's a little dramatic, but that's okay. Was it a little bit more dramatic than I was going for? Possibly. I should not have done the black, but I don't hate the red on the bottom. I don't hate the gems. We're going for a very glam Valentine's Day look. That's all. All right. We're going to take this ColourPop L1 brush and I'm going to go in with the shade Cupid, which is the duochrome shade we used earlier. And we're going to put that on the inner corner. Just sort of wrap that shimmer shade around. Okay. So I am going to go do lashes, lips, and then come back, show you the finished look, and give you my thoughts on the palette. I feel like a mermaid goddess queen of Valentine's Day. I feel like I have like a little pearl crown with my, I don't know. I am feeling everything about this look. Here, let me get in a little bit closer so you can see it. I love it. I love it. I know this is a bit extra, but you could do this exact look without any of the gems. I feel like I have a pretty dramatic lash, which balanced out what I was a little bit worried about on the lower lash line. So still a fan, still love it. So let's show the palette one more time and talk about my thoughts. So I have used, and I always like to say how many shades I've used, but I mean, let's talk about this realistically. This is a first impression. I can't speak to longevity of the palette. I have used a lot of Nomad's palettes, so you know, I could say if it feels similar to their other formulas, but that's about the extent of the first impressions. But I like to say how many shades I use so you can get a feel of like how many shades did I actually test out? You know what I'm saying? So we used Paradise, Cupid, Love, Romeo, Quill, Tomb, Death, Dagger, Dark. Okay, so we used I literally used half the palette. So we've used half of the palette, which is not bad. I really liked it. Like I was kind of saying as I applied the shadows, some of the shimmer shades when I was swatching them, I had to dig my finger in to get payoff, but when I went to use them, I used my finger and it worked no problem. I did feel like I was able to pick up the shade Cupid on a brush. I did not try Romeo on the brush, so I'm not sure if it's just digging past that first layer. Romeo definitely feels like the most hard pressed of the shimmers to me. The rest aren't quite as hard pressed. I would say Cupid's the next hardest pressed. Juliet I think is a little bit hard pressed, but like Tragedy, Comedy didn't feel, and I should show you, the Tragedy and Comedy didn't feel like hard pressed at all when I swatched them. It was really these two. And then, no, this one's not even that hard pressed. I barely dipped my finger in there. Yeah, Morse is, yeah, okay, anyways. It's really Cupid and Romeo that are the most hard pressed, and those are the two I used on my lid. So as you can see, I just had to, when I dug my finger in to swatch them, I was able to then use them no problem. I did dig my finger in when I did the look, but I just wanted to address that. I felt like a lot of people were talking about how hard pressed the shimmers were in their reviews, so I just wanted to share my experience with it. I was a little bit nervous after seeing a lot of people's reviews, but I don't think they're as bad as I thought they were going to be. I will say that Cupid, which is the pink blue kind of duochrome, isn't the most opaque of a base. It's a little bit more of a translucent base or like an iridescent base, so I think that one feels like more of like a topper. But any of these shades, if you just put that over the lid and tapped that shimmer over, I think it would be stunning. So I want to start with packaging. I think the like imagery, so pretty. Seriously, stunning. This might be my favorite Nomad packaging like ever. I think it is so gorgeous. I love it. I like the idea of opening it, especially with the concept of the palette, right? It's love and death. So they have the love side, the death side, the like Juliet's on one side, Romeo's on the other. Like, I like that. I like that it's basically two 9-pan color stories. I will say, while I like all of that and I like the like thought behind it, the actual like practicality of it is not my favorite. I will say when I just did it like this, it wasn't too bad where I just held it sideways and had the one mirror. That seemed to work better than to try and like hold this whole thing. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. So it's not the easiest to use, you know, like some, like when you just flip up a whatever, but I like it. I get why they did it. And I think it goes with the theming of the palette. The matte shades I feel like performed amazing. I never really have issues with Nomad's mattes. I thought these were awesome, pigmented, blendable, super soft. Yeah, no concerns there. I already got into the shimmers, and I really only used 2, so I don't have thoughts on the other shimmers beyond like what I swatched of them. But anyways, I really like this palette. I will say, if you are somebody who does not like using your finger for shimmers, I think you might struggle with some of these. I do think they apply better with a finger than, or at least pick up better on a finger than a brush. So this might not be your jam, but I didn't try all the shimmers beyond swatching them. So I can't say for certain, but like Romeo and Cupid, I felt like they picked up better on the finger. So that's one thing. And then the other thing, if you are, you know, there's some of these shades here that when I swatched them look very similar on my skin tone. So Balcony and Rose, while I can see a difference to the two of them in pan, I don't know that there's like such a significant difference that they'd be like a noticeable difference on the eye. Same with Love and Light, although I feel like Light's a slightly lighter version of Love, so I think there's more of a difference between those two. It's really these two right here that I think are the most similar. But other than that, I mean, if you like this color story, if you like the, oh my God, if you like this color story, if you like the theme, if you like this palette, I think you'll like it. I really enjoyed it so far. I'm excited to continue to play with it once my challenge of only using 10 palettes for 30 days is over. I'm excited to be able to pull this one out again, but I really like how this look turned out. I know I made it like extra, but I really like it, and I think I would have liked it even without the gems on it. Let me see, because I kind of feel like this might be similar to my look that I did with the new Unearthly palette from the mystery box. So let me pull that look up and just see. Am I duplicating myself? It might be kind of similar. So the look with the Unearthly box didn't have the purple in the crease. It was like basically what I did down here in the crease with the purpley shade on the lid. It's kind of similar. It's not the exact same, but it's kind of similar. It's similar enough that, like, I don't know if you really need both of these. Although I will say the palettes are, let me just grab if you don't want to be spoiled on the Unearthly Cosmetics Valentine's Day mystery box, look away, because I'm going to show it really fast. It's definitely a different color story, the palette overall. I just think you can get a look similar to this using this palette. So if you have that, I don't know if you need both. I'm happy I have both because I do feel like they are different color stories and will inspire me somewhat differently. So anyways, okay, let's just look at some of my other Nomad palettes and see. I mean, I really don't think it's a similar color story to anything else. Like this is, I mean, you got the pinks in here, I guess, like that could be similar. That's the Cloud Forest palette. This is the Paradise Islands palette, and really don't even see, I mean, except, no, there's really no similarities in this palette at all. This is the Haunted Europe palette. Maybe the dark blue. It, like, maybe this side you got in here a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, you got a little bit of kind of similarities between this side and the Haunted Europe palette. Not exactly the same. I don't think any of these shades are like total dupes of it themselves, but it's similar. Okay, now let's look at some of these other ones. Okay, so this is the Hudson Valley palette. I mean, this red shade I would say is more red, whereas this one's more of like a pinky red from the palette, the shade Love. So I don't think there's any similarities in that one. America's Parks. This multi-chrome shade might be similar to the multi-chrome shade in this palette. Let's look. The one in this palette's more purple, so I wouldn't say they're that similar. This color story vibe-wise is probably the most similar because you have like the pinky part and then the purpley part. But even then, I don't think it's the exact same. I think you have quite a few different shades. These might be good palettes to pair together. But yeah, I would say that one's going to be the most similar. And then this is the Fire and Ice palette. I don't see any similar shades. I mean, maybe this shade down here, Valkyries, and the shade Juliet. I'm dropping all of my Nomad palettes right now. Juliet's a little bit darker, so, but that's it. Okay, and then the last Nomad palette that I have is the Whistler Snow Lodge palette. And I don't think there's anything really similar in that one. So Fête de Provence is probably the most similar, like, color story vibe-wise, because you have the cool side and then the pink red side. That one also has yellows in it, whereas this one has like the grays and the gold. So I definitely think they're different. I don't think there's any shades where they're duping themselves. So I think it's a really good palette for them to be adding to their collection. And like, I literally could not speak enough about how much I love this packaging, how much I love the theming. That's what I love about Nomad and some of the other indie brands is like, they just you can tell they put so much thought into the color story, the theming, the shade names, the whole vibe of the palette. And that's why I like buying so many palettes, because it's like, it's just like such an experience to get to use it. Whereas, you know, there's just some, you know, like, I don't want to throw shade, but like some mainstream mainstream brands release like the same thing over and over again with a slight shade variation. And it's just like, you can tell that they're just churning stuff out without really thinking anything through and like presenting you with this like a work of art, which is what I feel like this palette is. So anyways, those are my thoughts on this palette. Let me know what you think in the comments. I really like this look, so please be nice to me if you don't. But I would be curious to hear if this is a palette that you were picking up, not picking up, where you're at, if you're gonna dupe your collection to recreate this look. If you recreate this look and post it somewhere, tag me. I would love to see that. But yeah, that's it for me. I will see you next time. Goodbye!